Thank you so much for tuning into the MYLF Podcast Review. Today, I have an amazing guest, Miss Jordon Campbell. She is the writer and creator and lead actress in her debut film, The Deepest Cut. Welcome, Miss Jordon. Thank you so much for being a guest on my new segment, MYLF Podcast Review, and for inviting me to see your new movie, The Deepest Cut. Could you tell us a little bit about it, please?
Yes. So The Deepest Cut, there's this character, her name is Constance, and you follow her through, like, she's trying to form a romantic relationship, but then she starts to discover that there's some things from her past that's starting to affect this relationship. And at a certain point, she's going to have to make a decision of, do I need to deal with these things in the past, or am I going to avoid them and try to have this healthy relationship?
That is so relatable, because we all go through that, whether it's a big issue or like a small little tiny issue. I feel like a lot of us, we always hold in things, and that definitely reflects outwardly in our relationships.
Right.
So what brought you to come up with this concept? I know, like I said, it's relatable, but do you have any personal connection in writing this?
Yeah, so I'm actually a therapist. And like, I see all, like, some of the stuff that you'll see in the film is a lot of like the stories that I've picked up along the way of just like hearing some of my clients and what they've dealt with. And like you mentioned, that it is relatable. So we all have our stuff. And I've been in situations where I've tried to form a relationship, or I've been in a relationship, and like, you don't really realize that you have all this baggage until like you really care about somebody, and then the closet wants to open with the skeletons. And then you have to start dealing with those things. And it's just really important before you get into these like meaningful relationships to like deal with that stuff before, you know, you bring it in and you end up, either the relationship ends or ends up being a toxic relationship. So it's just really important to like take control of those things.
I love what you said about taking control, because regardless of if you're entering into a relationship or you're, you know, living your life as a single person or whatever, you the biggest thing is having control of what is happening around you and happening within you. And I know we can't always control other people and circumstances, but we can control somewhat how we feel inside. And I think that what you're doing, putting out there, is very important, because we need to understand how important it is to reflect inward. And sometimes we can't do it on our own. So like you said, you're a therapist. And a lot of times, especially in the Black community, we shy away from getting professional help. You know, I guess some people maybe think it makes them look weak, or maybe they only think you know, crazy people go see therapists. But therapy is important. It's kind of like going to the doctor. And I was thinking, the deepest cut is, you know, really internal. We don't see those wounds, we don't see those scars. It's reflected in our relationships.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, like that's what I'm passionate about too, is making mental health not be such a taboo in the Black community. Because I realize that I get a lot of Black male clients too, but when I get them, it's when their relationship has been completely dismantled and they're like at, you know, ground zero, where they think they can handle things on their own. And then when things are just stripped away is when they finally resort to go into therapy. And I love working with them so much, because they do the work outside of like the sessions, and they're just so eager to like make connections with their family, like work on themselves a little bit more. And it's just like, why do you have to reach that point before mental health is important? And I think a lot of the times too, we've been told to pray these things away. And we don't realize that maybe the prayer is, the answer to your prayer is seeking therapy, you know, because for me, before I even go into sessions, I pray, and I'm like, all right, God, give me the wisdom to like help me through this, give, you know, the insight to help my clients and whatnot. And it's just like, what do you think that knowledge and insight is coming from? Like, it's not, you know what I mean? So I wish people would just think outside of just like the Bible is your only source of finding solutions. There's other ways where you can get help.
Totally, totally. I 100% agree. I feel like prayer is important. It's like prayer and meditation, because you have to stop and you have to breathe and you have to think. But then
Hmm.
there's work behind that.
Hmm.
It's like being physically healthy, right? We can't just pray our physical health, into existence. We
Right.
have to eat right. We
Hmm.
have to monitor what we're putting into our body. We have to exercise. And I feel as though and maybe you can elaborate, but there is work that you have to put into making your mind strong.
Hmm.
I know people do, like, they recite mantras daily. You have to really constantly put yourself in a positive mindset, and it's work. It's constant work, because you hear people saying negative things about you. The media is saying, oh, well, if you're not this, so especially social media, oh, if you're
Hmm.
not an entrepreneur and making $100,000 a day, then what are you doing with your life? Like,
Right.
no, but these are unrealistic expectations.
Right.
And as human beings, everybody is different. There's only one you, there's only one me. And we
Right.
have to be confident in that. And a lot of times people look outward to building on themselves, and that's nice. We should have some type of threshold or things, but we need to look inside ourselves. Now, do you feel as though your clients, when they come to you, are those some of the things that they're dealing with? I know there's also like abuse and different types of
Hmm.
issues like that, but do you feel as though they're clinging on to those things in order to, like, save themselves?
Yes, I think that a lot of times people don't realize that they have the control to change certain things about their lives. And they're looking towards, like you said, these external things to help change their situation. They think if I move to a different location, then I'm going to feel better. They think if I get into this relationship, I'm going to feel better. And it's like, no, because you still got the baggage that you got to deal with. You know what I mean? So it takes work. And I'm glad that you use the example of, like, if you have a physical ailment, there's work that you have to do. And that's the same when it comes to like mental health. There's work that you have to do. And maybe, the medicine is going to therapy. The medicine is, doing the positive affirmations, changing, the people that are around you that are creating these negative thoughts that you continue to have that's, affecting your mindset and how you view yourself. So it's just really important for people to understand that, yeah, there's certain elements that you can't control, but you can control how you respond to it. And you can also create boundaries around people who are hurting you, and you can eliminate them out your life.
Oh, you hit the nail on the head, those boundaries. And I took a parenting class, and so I learned a lot about. I was, it's quarantine, so I need to learn all I can. But one
Mhm.
of the things that we learned about is like development, the child's development, and how we tend, as parents, we teach our children that they don't have control over themselves. When we were learning about discipline, when we were learning about discipline, and a lot of parents, they we learned growing up. I'll say me, because personally, like, you get a popped or whatever, and that teaches your child that they don't have control over themselves. They and not to say, because a lot of people don't think that's abuse, and it may not necessarily be abuse, but what are you teaching? Are you teaching your child to not do the thing that you don't want them to do, or are you inadvertently teaching that child that mommy and daddy, or anybody that they feel is superior to them, can hit them at any time,
Right.
um, because they don't like something that they're doing. And I
Hmm.
feel like a lot of times we need to stop and think, how we grew up. we hold on to those things. We don't realize how those things have affected us. So then
Right.
we allow so many abusive things to happen to us. We just, we accept more than what we, you know, need to deal with when it comes to relationships and even at work. I've been in abusive relationships at work, and we
Hmm.
think, oh, because this person is signing my paycheck and I need to go to, no, like that is not right. We
Right.
need to understand that a lot of times things happen to us and we don't realize how it affects us.
Right.
So I was watching your clip of your movie
Hmm.
and it was really dramatic. Like, I am so intrigued. I'm going to try to put the clip, a little bit of the clip in here, but I
Hmm.
was so intrigued. I'm like, what is this girl going through? Like, I want to hold your hand. I want to pray with you. I want to, like, but I do love the sequence of events, and hopefully, when I go on March 27th to see
Yeah.
the full thing, I will get to see what finally happens in the end. But it does look like she's, you know reaching inward.
Hmm.
But like you said, sometimes we wait until we're at rock bottom, we
Yeah.
hit that breaking point to go and find the reason why, when we
Hmm.
could have just said, you know what, this doesn't feel good right now, maybe I should look right now. It's kind of like when you get a cold and you
Hmm.
start getting that little tickle in your throat, instead of waiting until you're like like on your deathbed and you're
Right.
for like 2 weeks, you should have just, should have been pre-planning. You should have been preparing. um
Right.
and I really want to talk about your movie, but I feel like your position as a therapist is just so important for
Hmm.
my audience. What do you feel about, like, maybe you can integrate this with your character, if she had of prepared, if she had gone to
Right.
therapy earlier in her
Hmm.
life, and maybe after whatever events had taken place that got her here, if she had gone or had, maybe spoken to some friends or something, or read a book, how do you think that would have helped her? Or, how do you think that would have affected her?
Yeah, I think that would have helped her a lot because I think that what we've been taught, in particular, like people of color, what they've been taught is just to push through it and not just like people don't want to take a moment to really deal with certain things and just to slow down. It's just like, no, we're going to ignore this problem and we're just going to get through it. And that's basically we've been taught how to survive, just how to get through. And a lot of the times, like we're still having to survive, but it's okay to make a pit stop. It's okay to just rest and deal with certain things in particular, because if you're running on E, the car is going to stop eventually, So why not take control of that and say, hey, I'm noticing that my tank is getting less and less and less. So I'm going to stop and pull over on myself instead of something forcing me to stop. Because when something forces you to stop, you're not ready for it. And it becomes like such a big issue. So I truly believe that if she had just started to recognize that, hey, something isn't right here, and really took control of it, like I'm going to do something about it, and not had shame around the fact that she has to take a break, then that would have helped her a lot.
Do you feel, when you were writing the your script and casting your characters, do you feel as though there was maybe a change or some sort of evolution in your writing process? I know this is like completely different from what we just talked about, but I'm interested in, how you went from, you know and I could see your inspiration from being a therapist
Mhm.
into bringing that story into a film, and making those points in film form. Do you
Mhm.
feel as though that changed you at all?
Um, I think that, when I wrote it, I wrote like the full concept. So I knew like how I wanted to start, I knew the middle, and I knew how I wanted it to end. Um, and then like there was certain elements that were really important to me to put in there too. Like I did want to put like religion and scriptures and stuff. And I did want to put like the journey that she's going through, because I wanted it to be very relatable. And I also wanted to, I was in the seat of like the therapist, and how like the first few sessions are very difficult for the therapist to connect with clients, in particular if they're not really ready for it, but they're kind of like forced to be there. So I wanted to show that, and I wanted to show like her journey through it, and the ways that she's like accepting these things are happening, and taking control of it too. And I also wanted to show the importance of like the relationship from, caregiver to child as well, and like attachment and things like that, because I think that a lot of times people stress the importance of like the daughter's relationship to the dad, but they don't really stress the importance of mom and daughter relationships. And that's really shown in the movie, about like how important it was, and how it kind of like shaped what's going on for her.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. I think we don't talk too much about how a daughter's relationship is impacted by her mother. It's usually the son's relationship with the mother
Right.
and the daughter's relationship with the father, but
Mhm.
not too often do we see the impact of a daughter's relationship with her mother. Oh, I really want to see that. I know there was a few clips, but I really want to see how that plays out, because
Mhm.
for me, I'm a daughter, and I can definitely relate to my relationship with my mother. And then I have four daughters of my own that,
Wow.
and they're all different ages. So I mean, I do see, and my oldest is my stepdaughter, so it's almost, I see her relationship with her mother, as an outsider looking in, but then I also, as a stepmother, see how she's grown, and even just interesting our interaction now that she's an adult. I don't know, in your practice, do you only deal with certain type of person? Do you only deal with adults? Do you work with couples? Do you work with families? Because I feel like that could be something that would really help people, who, a lot of the times the people that need the help don't reach out. But for a person like me, who I have young children, so maybe it would be good for us to like go to a family counseling, just to show my children that it is okay and it is totally normal to get help
Mhm.
outside of one another, get some professional help if you feel as though there's anything, because, especially when now with everything happening, like I definitely see a change in my children. And so I always try to be mindful of what they could possibly be going through, especially if they're not expressing that to me
Mhm.
verbally, but I might see it in the change of their behavior. But a lot of parents, they don't see that, especially if they're not, at home all the time, if they're working. Shoot, if they're going through some negative experiences themselves,
Mhm.
they're not thinking about, oh my gosh, all these things that are happening to me are, weighing on my children as well.
Right.
And so those are some examples of how the mother's relationship with her children, is impactful, because for sure, when I'm feeling sick, my kids, they see that, when
Mhm.
I'm mad or upset, I can tell that they are affected by that. So I
Right.
mean, I'm not sure how your main character's mother, with a relationship with her mother, what that balance is, but it's
Mhm.
intriguing to see that. And I hope that, when the audience sees that plays out, that they can see a lot of that in themselves, and that will
Mhm.
help them. I feel as though your movie is going to inspire people to go and seek some counseling.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of your, once you show your film, do you have some counseling or any type of invitation to any counseling events that you're going to offer?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to reach out to different clinicians and see if they want to like have their business cards. And I do like a little PSA at the end too. So yeah, I definitely want people to know that There's resources out there for them. I don't want them to get discouraged too, because understanding that during this pandemic, it's really hard now to get a therapist. So I want them to know, like, okay, it's okay to call, get on the waiting list, but maybe there's like other support systems or support groups that you could like join until these therapists open up. Because yeah, it's just, I know me personally, my client list is, it's big, and I'm just trying to fit people in here and there. So I don't want people to get discouraged by that either. We're trying to meet the needs.
Wow, that's cool though. I think what you're doing is incredible and it's so necessary. And I love that you are putting it in, you're taking what you know and what you've experienced through being a therapist and putting it into light so that us people who don't know what happens behind those closed doors can actually see. And it looks so relatable when I watch the clips, and it sounds so relatable, now that I'm talking to you about it. Is there anything in particular that you want my viewers to know about your movie and about your premiere that's coming up?
I think that they just get really excited, be open-minded. Also, I want it to be an event because I know, like, we've been stuck in the house, during this pandemic. And that's why I wanted it to be like a red carpet, formal attire. I want, the opportunity for everyone to get dressed up, to feel really good about themselves, because that can help also with like a positive mindset. And understanding that I am taking proper precautions when it comes to COVID as well. I'm going to rent out 3 to 4 theaters. These theaters are at 35% capacity. There's going to be temperature checks. It's a masked event. Like, I'm not playing any games. I'm making sure everybody is going to be safe at this event. And just come, and bring your loved ones. It's a conversation starter. Hopefully it allows you to take that necessary step, to tackle some things that you might have put in the back burner, and just put you first. And it's okay after watching this if you want to be like completely selfish and say, hey, I want to take some time to just really deal with these things, and just give yourself permission in that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that you said such an important thing. We have to give ourselves permission to take
Mhm.
care of ourselves. So, how can we get the tickets to your event, and where exactly should we go? And how can we stay in touch with you on social media?
Yeah, so the tickets to the event, you can go to addyvilleproductions.com. That's ADDYVILLE productions.com. And then right on the page, it has purchase tickets. Also so my personal page is private, so I'll direct you to the Deepest Cut movie on Instagram. And also Addyville Productions are the pages you can go and purchase a ticket. The links are right there. So if you didn't catch it when I said it, go to those pages, Deepest Cut Movie and Addyville Productions. And yeah, that'll be your way of purchasing those tickets.
So, I have to ask, with the film, is there likely to be a sequel, or do you feel as though you're going to add on to maybe make it a series, or what are your future prospects?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think that where it is left at, I mean, there's a potential to have a sequel, but I don't think I'm going to go in that direction. I honestly think that what I'm really passionate about is just bringing up certain topics that I see within like the Black community and mental health, and putting it into film. So I have like a lot of ideas of like what I want to do. I do actually have in mind of like writing a short film that is going to expand a little bit more about the mother and daughter relationship. And then I want to do something about like the Black male and their perspective of going through America. Like, I have like so many ideas of these different topics that I want to tackle.
Well, I certainly am excited and I look forward to seeing more from you. I will definitely, if you want to come back and talk more about your future projects when you create them and you roll them out, we will be here to listen because it sounds amazing. And anything that has to do with putting a positive spin on mental health and getting professional mental counseling, I'm all for. I feel like this is going to help so many people, and especially in the time that we're in, we all need it. And if we can get it, even, get a little sense of hope by watching a movie like yours, then that is a beautiful thing. And I thank you so much for sharing. And I
Thank
hope
you.
to have you back soon. This is going to be a 2-part special. So today we are learning about the movie, and we had a wonderful conversation with the creator and lead actress of this movie. And our second part of this series is going to be at the premiere. So please stay tuned. Thank you so much, Miss Jordon
Thank
Campbell.
you.
And I look forward to seeing you on March 27th. Please, everyone, go to the website and get the tickets. Bring your family. And even if you can't make it, I will definitely be at the premiere to show you what's happening.